Good morning, Di.
Good morning, Christine. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And Di, as I mentioned before, is a trainer and manager for Lifeline Mid-Coast and for the Crisis Centre support. And you're looking for volunteers for funds. So how does that work?
Look, Christine, it's one of those things. Our volunteers are the backbone of Lifeline, and I think that is one of the reasons why Lifeline does so well to support people, because we are our volunteer base. So they're local people in our area. We've got 75 volunteers who come from this area. And what we're looking for is to boost that number to enable our roster to be filled 24/7. That's our goal, which is a big goal.
So at the moment it's not filled 24/7?
You're right, there's vacancies. And Lifeline receives a call every 30 seconds, which is a real... some people call that a problem, and I call that actually a win.
Yes.
People are learning to reach out, Christine, not wait.
That's right.
Reach out earlier, that's a better option. So our volunteers, we need some more volunteers to fill those gaps so that people that are reaching out will have somebody to listen.
And of course, we've just been through Christmas and school holidays is still on. And it's a hard time of the year for a lot of people, and families are not always around. Yeah. Do you find that is a time where you do get more calls?
We do traditionally have a lot more calls over Christmas or any period of the year, where there's celebrations that looks like everybody else is out there having fun. And people who are living with things like loss and grief, they can have family pressures on them. You know, being with family sometimes can be difficult. But loneliness is the biggest thing, because loneliness creates a problem, isolation, disconnection. So this is where Lifeline can really play a part. We don't have to wait until people are really desperate. Ring us early. Ring us when things aren't going well on the day.
Yes, exactly. And so with regard to the new recruits that you'll be taking on board, how long is the training for?
Yes, good question, because a lot of people do come to us and aren't sure what that entails. So we have 6 weeks of training, and over that 6-week period you attend 2 sessions per week, and you do 2 sessions of training at home on a platform like an online training. Now, while that might seem a lot, what we are doing is ensuring that you're safe as a volunteer to be comfortable to handle what people might be ringing in about, and also that our help seekers, the people that are ringing us, are safe as well. So it's a commitment. It is a commitment, and I'll always honour that. But what I will tell you is you'll get a lot out of it as well. It's a win-win.
Rewarding.
It's very rewarding. And the skills that you take away from the training, you can apply in your own everyday life as well. It crosses over quite well into everyday life situations. So it's good.
Well, that makes quite common sense, really, when you think about it. Yes, you're talking to people every day. You don't know what they're dealing with, and quite often, you could be sitting waiting for a bus, and people can open up to you.
Absolutely. And when people say to me, people tell me their life story, I say, well, it's not because you've got a neon sign on your head. It's because you are giving indicators that you're willing to listen.
And that's the most important thing isn't it? To listen.
That's what we train for. And you might say, well, hey, I don't need training to listen. I'm a great listener. But listening in a specific way to hear, not to respond, but to really hear what's happening for that person.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if people are interested to do volunteer work with this wonderfully important crisis centre support, what do we do? What do people do?
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. What you would do is ring our office. That's Lifeline Mid-Coast on 6581 2800. And our secretary will put your name down on a waiting list to come to our information night, which we've planned for the 6th of February, starting at 6 p.m. at Westport Club in Port Macquarie. But I'm also happy if you ring that number, 6581 2800, and ask for me. I can also answer questions if you've got any inquiries from people that want to know a little bit more than what we've been able to give out today.
That's a good
but
idea.
The info night is really the place to come and get it all.
Yeah. And that info night starts on the 6th?
6th of Feb at 6 p.m. and there's no cost, of course, to come to that. It will be catered for. There'd be a little evening supper together, and you will get to meet other volunteers. I'll have volunteers there that are currently on the phone, so you'll get to meet the kind of people that would also you might be working with.
Of course. Well, that sounds wonderful. And so it's open to anybody that feels that they might have, well, not necessarily the skills, because they go along to learn the skills.
Absolutely.
But
I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes people say to me, oh, you know, I didn't think I'd have the skills to do that, or I'm already trained in something. And what I'll say to them is, if you've got a heart for people and you want to really listen to what's happening for some people and be that your way of having purpose in your life, come along.
yes,
You don't need to have had any training. Our training is actually world class for crisis support, and everybody that does the training always comments on how well formulated the training is. So, yeah, come along. You don't need to have done anything or to have anything in your background there.
and do you find that the volunteers that you have or have trained,
Yeah.
they stay with you quite some time, or sometimes get a bit burnt out, or life changes, or
Look, I think it'd be life changes more than anything
Yes.
else. People come and go for various reasons, and you know what? That's why people ring for various reasons.
Of
There's a good
course.
match there, really.
yes, indeed.
Look, I'd love people to stay a long time, but what I say is people stay for the length of time that works for them.
Yeah.
And when they leave, it's always with a really heartfelt reason. You know, I've got to leave because I'm moving town, I've got more responsibilities now, I've gotten a job. And that's what Lifeline can do sometimes, is actually add to your skill set for further employment. But what I would say is burnout is something that we are very aware of at Lifeline. And when some people say, how do I do that on the phone and not get burnt out? We actually offer a lot of support to ensure that that doesn't happen to people. Can't guarantee it, Christine, but I certainly make sure that our team...
I'm sure you look after your team.
We do,
Yes.
we do.
Well, Di, thank you so much for coming along this morning and advising people of this wonderful support system.
Yeah.
And if anyone is out there listening and think you might be interested, please give 6581 2800 a call and have a talk to Di if you need to find out some more questions. So it's a great thing. And before we go, just need to quickly mention that there is talk of a new premise coming.
Yes, isn't that exciting? So
Great.
our building will grow. It'll be early 2026 or mid 2026. And look, we're very excited.
Of course.
Yeah, and thank you for having me, Christine.
It's a
lovely.
pleasure.
Thank
We'll
you.
watch this space.
Yes, please do.
All right, Di. Thank you so much for coming.